"Uncle, don't get on that plane." The boy's voice cracked through the crowded terminal like a fire alarm, desperate, hoarse, and raw with something no one could place. Was it fear, anger, grief? Jordan Peterson stopped mid-stride. His suitcase wheels clicked to a halt on the glossy floor of JFK's Terminal 4. He turned slowly, confused. The voice had come from behind the rows of business travelers and families, near the Hudson News kiosk. Murmurs spread like static as people turned to see what the commotion was. A boy, no older than 10, barefoot and wild-eyed, elbowed his way past a stunned TSA officer. His face streaked with sweat and grime, shirt hanging off one shoulder like it didn't quite fit. He looked like he didn't belong in an airport, or maybe anywhere, but his eyes were locked on Jordan. "You don't know me," the boy shouted, breathless now, "but you can't get on that plane. Please, just listen for a second. You'll regret it if you don't." Security was already moving, drawn by the breach. 2 guards jogged from gate 22. One tapped his radio. Another traveler pulled out their phone, recording. Jordan stepped back, unsure whether to run or respond. The boy looked like he'd come from a different world entirely. And yet, there was something in his face, something disturbingly familiar. "I know what you're thinking," the boy panted, standing just feet away now. "You think I'm just some crazy street kid trying to make a scene. But I swear, on my mother, I'm not asking for money. I'm trying to save your life." Jordan blinked, uncertain whether to laugh or scream. "Who sent you?" "No one." The boy waved his arms as the guards closed in. "But if you get on that plane, everything changes. I know what happens. You don't." The guards grabbed his arms roughly, dragging him back. His feet skidded on the tile. "Just ask about Gate 20, he yelled over his shoulder. "Ask them, something's wrong with that flight. Look at the manifest, please." "Sir," one of the guards addressed Jordan. "Do you know this boy?" "No," Jordan said, but slowly. His voice sounded uncertain even to himself. The boy's head snapped back toward him, eyes blazing. "Yes, you do," he whispered, just loud enough for Jordan to hear. "I just don't remember." And then he was gone, hauled around the corner, swallowed by the crowd and the buzz of airport life resuming, like nothing had happened at all. Jordan stood frozen, staring at the gate. Boarding Group 1 was being called for Flight 20 to Seattle, and suddenly the air around him felt very still. Jordan didn't move. Around him, the crowd flowed with its usual indifference, families gathering bags, business travelers tapping phones, the background noise of departures overhead. But inside his head, everything was frozen. The boy's final words echoed, "You just don't remember." He turned toward the gate desk. A woman in her late 30s, curly hair pinned back, stood checking boarding passes. Her badge read Renee. Jordan approached, ignoring the boarding line. "Excuse me," he said, voice low. She looked up, startled by the seriousness in his tone. "Yes, sir. Has anything unusual happened with this flight, Flight 20? Renee blinked. "Unusual how?" "I don't know," he said. "Has anyone raised a concern? Said something was wrong?" She studied him carefully. "No, sir. Everything's on time. Weather's clear. Routine flight." Jordan glanced behind him, as if expecting the boy to reappear, but the terminal was clean again, too clean, like the chaos hadn't happened at all. Renee tilted her head. "Is something wrong, Dr. Peterson?" The way she said his name, it wasn't surprised but not casual either, more like recognition layered with uncertainty. "Have we met before?" She hesitated, visibly debating whether to answer. "No," she said finally. "I don't think so." But her eyes betrayed her. Jordan knew that look. A micro-expression, he'd once called it in a lecture. It meant yes, even when the mouth said no. Before he could respond, the PA system chimed. "Final call for Flight 20 to Seattle. All remaining passengers, please proceed to Gate 20 immediately." The line was gone. Only a few stragglers remained. An elderly woman, a man in a sports coat, a teenage girl with headphones. Jordan looked back toward Renee. "I need to see the passenger manifest," he said. She stiffened. "I'm sorry, I can't." "Please," he said, "you know who I am." That gave her pause. After a moment, she turned to her screen, fingers tapping quickly. She didn't print anything, just stared. Then her face changed, brows pulling slightly together, lips parting. "What is it?" he asked. Her voice was quiet. "This flight. The manifest shows an error. There's a name repeated. That's not supposed to happen." Jordan leaned in. "Whose name?" She hesitated, then turned the screen slightly so he could see. There, 3 names down from the top in bold letters. Jordan B. Peterson twice. Same name, same birth date, same seat, 4A. "What the hell?" "Sir," Renee said, stepping closer, voice just above a whisper, "are you sure you didn't book this flight twice?" He shook his head. "I booked it once. 1 seat. I don't even know why I'm here, to be honest." Renee looked around nervously. Then maybe that boy wasn't crazy. For the first time since he'd arrived at the airport, Jordan felt something worse than confusion settle in his chest. Dread. Jordan stared at the screen like it might rearrange itself into something sane, but the details remained. 2 identical entries. Same ID. Same frequent flyer number. Same seat. Renee quickly tapped more keys. "I'm going to check something." He watched her scroll through back-end system windows, lips pressed in concentration. Her fingers hesitated over a tab labeled TSA Flagged Incidents. Click. A small window popped up. She read silently, eyes narrowing. "Something's wrong with the timestamp," she muttered. Jordan leaned closer. "What do you mean? This booking shows you checked in twice, but one was 5 minutes ago at the kiosk, and the other," she pointed, "was exactly 24 hours ago. Same kiosk, same gate." "I wasn't here yesterday," Jordan said. "I was in Toronto." She looked pale now. "Then someone else used your credentials somehow, but that's not all." Another click. She opened the surveillance timestamp from yesterday's check-in. The thumbnail showed a grainy image, side profile of a man standing at the kiosk. Renee enlarged it. Jordan stopped breathing. It was him. His posture, his coat, his face. Slightly older looking maybe, with deeper creases around the eyes, a faint limp in his left leg, but undeniably him. "I've never seen this man," Jordan said slowly. "And yet I'm looking at myself." The boy's words burned in his memory. "You just don't remember." "Where's this version of me?" Jordan asked. Renee minimized the camera window, pulled up the gate logs. "He boarded a different flight yesterday, out of gate 20, but not to Seattle. That flight number doesn't match anything current, it just says T20 archived." She clicked it. A red error message blinked. "Restricted access. TSA internal use only." Jordan stepped back, his chest tight. "Something's happening here, and I think it goes beyond a flight mix-up." He glanced around the terminal. "Where's the boy now?" Renee frowned. "Security probably handed him off to Port Authority, but that kid shouldn't have made it through at all. He had no pass, no ID, no shoes. No reason to be here," Jordan murmured. "Except one." Renee touched her earpiece. "I have a friend in terminal ops. Want me to ask where they took him?" Jordan nodded. She turned and began speaking in a low voice to someone on the other end. Jordan took the moment to collect his thoughts. Something felt orchestrated, too strange to be coincidence. He looked again at the gate sign. Flight 20 to Seattle, boarding Group 4. Only a few passengers left. No turning back soon. Renee returned, pale. "They never took the boy into custody," she said. "No record of any juvenile detainment today. It's like..." Her words trailed off. Jordan finished them for her. "Like he disappeared." Renee swallowed. "What do you want to do?" Jordan stared out the terminal window at the plane waiting for him and whispered, "I think I need to find out who got on that flight yesterday." Jordan moved away from the gate. His flight would depart in less than 10 minutes, but he was no longer thinking about Seattle. He couldn't. Not after seeing himself board a flight that no one could trace. As he turned toward the terminal exit, a voice called out behind him, "Sir, wait, you left your bag." It was a young ground crew worker, holding a black carry-on suitcase. Jordan frowned. His own suitcase was already in hand. "That's not mine," he said. The worker held it up. "Tag says otherwise." Jordan took it reluctantly, glancing at the label. It had his name, all right. Jordan B. Peterson. Toronto address. But the scuff marks on the handle, the taped corner, this wasn't the luggage he'd packed this morning. He set it on a nearby bench and opened it. Inside was a carefully folded suit, a silver pen engraved with JBP, and a manila folder. He pulled the folder out, handwritten across the front. "If you're reading this, you didn't get on the plane." Good. Jordan's hands tightened around the paper. He opened the folder. Inside were documents, not printed ones, handwritten notes, maps, even a photograph. He spread them out on the bench. The first page was dated April 10th, yesterday. The handwriting matched his own. "I boarded the flight. I shouldn't have. If you're reading this version of the letter, then the kid reached you. That means we might still have a chance." Jordan stared, unblinking. Gate 20 isn't just a gate, not today, it's a vector. Something has twisted time. I don't understand how, only that I boarded thinking it was Seattle and landed somewhere else. Not just physically, psychologically, emotionally, I changed, we change. The letter went on, fragmented, as if written in urgency. "I met people who remembered things I hadn't done yet. I said things I didn't believe. And when I looked in the mirror, I wasn't sure who I was anymore." Jordan flipped to the photo. It showed him, older, grayer, standing at a podium. But the banner behind him wasn't English. Cyrillic letters, a Russian flag. The expression on his face, rigid, almost unrecognizable. Beneath it, a scribbled line, "The other version of us isn't coming back." A loud chime snapped him out of the spiral. "Final boarding call for Flight 20 to Seattle, doors closing." Renee was suddenly beside him, eyes on the paper. "Is this yours?" Jordan shook his head slowly. "Yes and no." She looked him over. "You're not getting on that plane, are you?" "No." He closed the folder, hands trembling slightly. "I think I already did." Renee didn't ask for details. She just nodded once, like she understood more than she should. Jordan stood, holding the folder like it might fall apart if he loosened his grip. "I need to find the version of me who came back." It was dusk in Queens when Jordan stepped out of the yellow cab and into the chilled April air. The manila folder was tucked under his arm, the black suitcase trailing behind him like a quiet companion. He was standing in front of Flushing Meadows Park, where, according to a scribbled note in the folder, the other version of him had been spotted. "He walks here, same coat, same limp, every evening, 7:23 p.m. sharp." Jordan glanced at his watch, 7:21 p.m. What if this was a mistake? What if the folder was some elaborate trick, planted by someone who knew his mannerisms, his past, his fears, but deep down he knew it wasn't. He stepped off the sidewalk and followed the gravel path winding beneath the tall, leafless trees. The fading sun filtered through bare branches, painting the ground with cold gold. And then, he saw him. The man came from the opposite end of the trail, tall, grey trench coat, slower on the left side. Jordan's breath caught. It was him. They stopped 10 feet apart. Jordan's first instinct was disbelief. This wasn't a mirror image, it was something off. This man looked heavier, his posture more rigid. His face wore no curiosity, no softness. His eyes were sharp, calculating. "Are you the one who didn't get on?" the man asked, voice flat. Jordan nodded. The man exhaled through his nose. "Then you're lucky. You stayed behind." Jordan stepped forward. "What is this? What happened at gate 20? The man looked around. No one was near. "You saw the file?" "I saw enough." "Then you already know," the man said. "There's more than one of us now, but I made choices you didn't. I went through the gate. I followed where it led." "Where was that?" A pause. Then, "A world where I'm listened to without question, where no one interrupts, where my voice, our voice, isn't debated, it's obeyed." Jordan recoiled. "That's not who we are. That's who I became, and I won't let you undo it." Jordan's pulse quickened. "You came back." "I had to. They sent me back. The timeline wouldn't hold without both of us in it." Jordan frowned. "They?" But the other Jordan stepped closer. You should burn the folder, forget what the boy said, forget the gate. Go to Seattle, give your lecture. Live your small, predictable life. Why are you here then? Jordan asked. If I don't matter. You matter, because you're the last variable, the last loose thread. They stood in silence as the wind rustled dead leaves around their feet. I'm not going back, Jordan said. Not until I understand. The other Jordan nodded once. Then you'd better move fast, because they're watching. And if you think I'm dangerous, he leaned in, almost whispering, you haven't met the third one yet. Then he turned, walked down the trail, and disappeared into the falling darkness. The night felt heavier now. As Jordan sat alone in a quiet diner near Roosevelt Avenue, the fluorescent lights buzzed faintly overhead. His coffee had gone cold. The manila folder lay open on the table, pages scattered, reread for the 100th time. But one thing kept haunting him. You haven't met the third one yet. There wasn't supposed to be a third. He flipped through the papers again, faster now. Then he saw it, something tucked between two other pages, almost glued to the back cover. A smaller envelope, sealed with a black paperclip. He hadn't noticed it before. He opened it. Inside was a thin sheet, different handwriting. Not his, not the other Jordan's. Sharper, more deliberate. Dr. Peterson, this is the last message you'll receive voluntarily. After this, they will erase access. There were always three versions, one who obeys, one who resists, and one who disappears. The next line was a location, Pier 42, 11:11 p.m. Tonight, ask for Sarah. He checked his watch, 10:02 p.m. Jordan stuffed everything into the folder, left a 20 on the table, and walked out into the night. By 11:05, he was at the edge of Pier 42. The East River shimmered under the city lights, wind cutting sharp across the water. Barges drifted in the distance. Nothing about the place looked promising. It was mostly abandoned, a former docking area now rusting into silence. He heard footsteps behind him. A woman, mid-30s, worn coat, short, dark hair, stood beneath a flickering street lamp. Sarah? He asked. She nodded. You made it. That's good. Most don't. Who are you? He asked. I used to be like you, she said. Then I saw what happened at Gate 23 years ago. I've been following your case ever since. Case? You think this is just about flights and doppelgangers? Her voice lowered. It's a pattern. Always Gate 20. Always someone with a public voice. They vanish, or change, or come back. Wrong. Jordan's mouth went dry. How many others? 12 since 2019. All thought they were going to speak at some event. None came back the same. And 3 never came back at all. He took a step closer. Why me? Because your voice influences millions, she said, and someone wants that voice controlled. They've done it before. Subtle shifts, tone, language, values. But when that's not enough, they replace you piece by piece. He felt a shiver. Then the boy at the airport, he wasn't supposed to get in. He broke protocol. Which means someone inside wants the truth out. She handed him a USB drive. This has airport data no one should have. Surveillance archives, manifest edits, biometric scans. Use it, but be careful. The third version, he doesn't care about philosophy or free speech. What does he want? She stared at him. To become the only version left. Jordan stood frozen, the drive in his hand feeling heavier than it should. You have about 48 hours, Sarah said. Then the system resets, and you'll forget this ever happened. Then, like the boy, she vanished into the city fog. 48 hours. That was the window Sarah had given him. After that, memory loss. System reset. Or worse. Jordan sat in a hotel room near LaGuardia, staring at the USB drive glowing faintly in the laptop's port. His hands hovered over the trackpad as the folder opened. Hundreds of files. Security footage, passenger lists, logs, voice recordings. He clicked one at random. Gate 20 anomaly. Subject appears twice in time-stamped footage. No explanation. Memory wipe unsuccessful. Escalated to Tier 3. Another file, a facial scan. Subject J. Peterson. Status: split integrity confirmed. Directive: merge or remove. Jordan's throat tightened. He clicked again, this time audio. We control the voices that shape the century. When a voice begins to resist its function, we modify. If modification fails, we replicate. The audience never knows. They don't want truth. They want familiarity. He yanked the drive out. That was enough. At 9:47 p.m., Jordan stood once more in Terminal 4, in front of Gate 20. No flight was scheduled, but the gate lights were on. He stepped closer. The screen above the boarding area flickered. Empty, then. Incoming flight, Gate 20, final passenger. Jordan looked around. No one else noticed. The terminal buzzed with regular traffic, laughter, rolling luggage. Yet Gate 20 was hushed, as if sealed inside its own dimension. He approached the desk. No agent. The boarding door stood open. Just beyond, the empty jet bridge. He walked through. Midway down, something felt wrong. The air thickened like static crawling against his skin. His ears popped. A faint ringing started in the back of his skull. And then he saw him, standing at the end of the corridor next to the plane door. The third version. This one looked different. Cleaner, younger, sharper suit, polished shoes. But his eyes, they were utterly hollow. No empathy, no confusion, just design. "You're late," the third said. Jordan stepped forward. "Who are you really?" "I'm the solution," the man replied. "The one they chose when you started asking too many questions. You don't speak like me. I speak like they need you to sound now. More concise, less vulnerable, more aligned. You're not me. I'm what they think you should have become." Jordan felt the folder in his coat, the USB drive still in his pocket. "This ends here," he said. The third Jordan tilted his head. "It never ends, you'll forget, and then you'll wake up thinking you just needed rest. You'll get back to your podcast, your lectures. The audience will applaud, and no one will know." Jordan reached for the folder, but the man was faster. He lunged forward, grabbing his arm. The world tilted, lights surged, metal groaned around them. For a moment, Jordan thought he was falling. And then, darkness. Jordan awoke at Gate 20, terminal noise all around. A boarding announcement called for a flight to Seattle. He looked down. No folder, no USB, no suitcase, just his phone, blinking with a new calendar reminder. Lecture, University of Washington. Topic: Order and Identity in Modern Chaos. He stood up. But something in his chest whispered, "You forgot something." And at the far end of the terminal, barefoot and silent, the boy was watching.